Good morning to all of you. I welcome you to Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research, deemed to be University. Myself, N. Bharat Kumar, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the following contents. The first topic we are going to discuss about is nothing but the analysis of electrical circuits. Okay, how the electrical circuits are going to be analyzed and what are the terminals involved in analyzing the circuits. That is the first one. Next, we are going to discuss about the mesh analysis and what is the procedure involved in applying this mesh analysis to any electrical circuit, and we will solve a simple example. And finally, we will discuss about nodal analysis and a procedure involved in applying the nodal analysis to any electrical circuit and a simple example in applying this nodal analysis. So these are the contents that we are going to discuss in today's class. Now coming to the analysis of the circuits, there are two types of analysis involved here. The first one is the mesh analysis and second one is the nodal analysis. So before going into the analysis let's discuss about some important points here. Loop. Already we know what is a loop, but once again I am reminding you as the topic demands. The loop is nothing but a closed path. Loop is nothing but a closed path. Next one, what is a path? The path is nothing but a movement through one node to another node without going through the same node twice. Path is nothing but a movement through one node to another node through elements of the circuit without going through the same node twice. That is called path. For example, if you consider a circuit here, in this circuit how many nodes are there? We already know there are 4 nodes. Node is nothing but junction or interconnection of 2 or more elements. So there are 4 nodes here, node A, node B, node C, node D. In this, how many loops are there? So what is a loop actually? A closed path. So if you observe here, this is a closed path. So while going through this path, consider node A as the starting point. We go through node A, through the element, next we go to node B, then through resistor, node D, then through the voltage source and back to node A. That means this is a closed path. Now consider the loop 2. In this loop 2, this loop 2 is also a closed path. Here also we have not encountered any node twice except the starting and ending node. And the outer loop is the third loop. In this loop also we have not encountered any node twice. So these 3 are called the loops. Now coming to the first one is nothing but mesh analysis. Already we know about node here, and now what is mesh? Mesh is also a closed loop. Mesh is also a loop that doesn't contain any other loop within it. So what is a mesh? Mesh is a loop. Mesh is also called as a loop. But what is the difference between mesh and loop? The mesh doesn't contain any other loop within it. We are going to call a loop as a mesh when it doesn't contain any other loop inside it. For example, in this circuit, if you see here, the loop 1, consider loop 1. Loop 1 is a mesh because inside this loop there is no any other loop present. That's why it is called a mesh. Now what about loop 2? Loop 2 is also a mesh because inside this loop 2 there is no other loops involved. So that's why loop 2 is also called as a mesh. Now what about loop 3? Loop 3 is not a mesh because inside loop 3 there are 2 loops, loop 1 and loop 2. That's why loop 3 is not a mesh. So by seeing this, you can now differentiate what is a mesh and what is a loop. If you observe here, how many loops are there? 3 loops. And how many meshes are there? There are only 2 meshes. Okay, that is the difference between a mesh and loop. While applying mesh analysis, you make sure you have identified the meshes in the circuit, not the loops. Okay, this is the basic terminology involved. Now let us move on to the mesh analysis. So what is a mesh analysis and how you are going to apply mesh analysis to solve any circuit? So mesh analysis is a systematic way of applying KVL in each mesh of a circuit. So this mesh analysis is nothing but it is a systematic way, or it is a process where we are going to apply KVL. Where we are going to apply KVL in each mesh of a circuit. KVL means Kirchhoff's voltage law. So in each mesh, already we know that the KVL is going to be applied in a closed path or mesh. So the mesh analysis is a systematic way of applying KVL in each mesh of a circuit, and we are going to represent those equations as mesh currents. So we are going to represent the branch voltages as mesh current, because in KVL sum of all the voltages, the algebraic sum of all the voltages is equal to 0. That voltage is represented by means of mesh currents here. Okay. So here you have to keep two things in mind. So mesh analysis is nothing but applying KVL. Second one, when you apply KVL, the KVL is nothing but sigma V rise is equal to sigma V drop. Okay. That means you are going to calculate all the voltages drops and voltage rise across each and every element. That voltages across each branch or each element you are going to represent in terms of mesh currents. Branch voltages are going to represent in terms of mesh currents. So these are the 2 points you have to remember to apply mesh analysis. Mesh analysis is nothing but the systematic way of applying KVL in an electrical circuit. When you apply KVL, you are going to calculate all the in a circuit, each and every element, all the voltages across each and every element in a circuit, and those voltages are going to be represented in terms of mesh currents. Okay. This will give us a set of equations that solve together to find the mesh currents. So when you apply KVL in each mesh, you are going to get some equations. When you solve those equations, you will get the mesh currents. By using these mesh currents, that means here if you observe this two circuit, here there are two meshes. You are going to apply KVL in each mesh. Then you are going to get two equations. When you solve those two equations, you are going to get the mesh currents. Next one, once we find the mesh currents, we can use them to calculate any other current or voltage in the circuit. So in this process, when you apply KVL and solve those equations, you will get mesh currents. When you get mesh currents in the circuit, then you can calculate the voltage across or current through any element in the circuit. Okay. Let us see the procedure involved here. Mesh analysis procedure. The step 1. The first step is nothing but to identify all the meshes in the circuit. You have to identify all the meshes in the given circuit. Second one, in the step 2, you are going to assign mesh current variables in each mesh. After identifying the number of meshes in the circuit, in the second step, you are going to assign the mesh current variables in each mesh. Okay. Next, third step. In the step 3, you are going to assign direction to the mesh current. Since they are the loops or closed paths, we have to assign direction. Generally, the direction must be either clockwise or counterclockwise in each or every mesh. So if there are two meshes, you have to assign either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction in both the meshes. Don't mix up the directions. You can mix up the directions, but it is not suggestible. So you have to choose either clockwise or counterclockwise. Next, coming to the step, after assigning the directions to mesh currents, the step 4, you are going to apply KVL in each mesh. So apply KVL in each mesh of the circuit. Next one, final step. After applying KVL, you will get a set of equations. Then you have to solve those equations to obtain the mesh currents. So this is the process involved to apply mesh analysis. While applying this process, you have to keep in mind one point. If there is a current source involved in a circuit, current source means they will mention only the current value. They will not give the voltage across the current source. Then what you have to do? So you have to remember this point. If a current source exists in the circuit, and if only one mesh current passes through the current source, then, so for example here I have a mesh like this. For example, consider the circuit. Here there are two meshes. This is the first mesh and this is the second mesh. I have assigned a current directions like this, I1 and I2. After identifying the number of meshes, I have assigned mesh variable currents. So in the first mesh, the current flowing is I1. In the second mesh, the current flowing is I2. These are the two variables I have assigned. Now, you have to apply KVL here. Also, I have indicated the direction as clockwise. If you want to apply KVL here, how will you calculate the voltage across resistors? That we know by using Ohm's law, we can calculate the voltage across these two resistors. But what about the voltage across the current source? We don't know. In such cases, there is no need to apply KVL because our aim is to calculate the mesh currents. If you observe here, a current of I1 is flowing in this mesh and a current source is given for, let us say, 5 amperes current source is there in the mesh 1. That means the I1 is directly equal to 5 amperes. There is no need to apply KVL in this mesh. If there is a current source present in a mesh and if you want to calculate that mesh current, there is no need to apply KVL in that loop. You can directly choose the mesh current variable as the current value. But whether it is plus 5 or minus 5, that will be decided by the direction. If the source current value and the direction of the variable are both in the same direction, then we will choose plus. See here, I1 is moving in clockwise. When it is moving clockwise, coming to the source, it is moving upwards. And the source current direction is also upwards. That means both the directions of the source value and the variable are same. That's why we have to choose in 5 amperes. For suppose if the current direction is downwards, okay, the current is flowing downwards, then what is the value of I1? Then I1 is equals to minus 5 amperes. So if the directions are opposite, then you have to choose minus value. If the directions are same, then you have to choose plus 5 value. Okay. And when you are applying mesh analysis, you are going to mainly apply KVL. KVL means sum of the voltages. But when there is a current source present in a mesh, there is no need to apply KVL because the current source value is equal to the mesh current value. Okay. And the polarity will be decided by the direction of those currents. So this is the important note you have to choose. Okay. So that's what I told. The mesh current is equal to the current source value if both them are moving in the same direction. The mesh current is equal to the negative of the current source if the direction of the mesh current and the source current are opposite to each other. That's what I have told you. If mesh current and current source value are moving in the same direction, then you are going to choose positive value. If the mesh current and the current value are opposite, then you are going to choose the negative value. Okay. So this is how you are going to calculate the mesh currents when there is a current source involved. But here I have considered that there is only one mesh current is going to pass through the current source. Suppose if the current source is common to two meshes, that means if two mesh currents are passing through a single source, what will happen? That means if you have a circuit like this, so this is, assume the current as I1 and assume this current as I2. If you see here, the current source 5 amperes is common to first mesh and second mesh. First mesh I1 is flowing downwards through the current source and in the second mesh I2 is flowing upwards in the current source. Then what is the resultant current here? For that purpose, you have to choose the direction of the current source. The direction of the current source is upwards. And what is the direction of I2? It is also upwards. But what about the direction of I1? It is downwards. That means this 5 amperes is equal to I2 minus I1. So the resultant current is I2 minus I1. That I2 minus I1 must be equal to 5 amperes. So when there is two mesh currents involved, then you have to take the resultant value of that mesh currents. Okay. So if a current source exists in a circuit and if more than one mesh current more than one mesh current passes through the circuit current source, then the mesh current is equal to the resultant of the current source. Okay. So the current source is equal to the resultant of the mesh currents. Okay. So these points have to remember. So these points has to be applied when there is a current source in the circuit. Okay. Let's do one example now. With this example, you will be clear about the mesh analysis. Consider a circuit like this. Okay. I have given a simple circuit here. Now what? Step 1 is nothing but identify the meshes. So you have to identify the number of meshes in the circuit. So how many meshes are there? Meshes, remember, meshes are nothing but the closed loops which doesn't contain any other loop inside it. So by seeing the circuit, you can clearly observe that this is one mesh and this is the second one. There are two meshes in the circuit. So number of meshes are 2. Second step, what is the step number 2? Assign mesh current values. So you have to assign mesh current variables. So in these two meshes, you have to assign mesh current variables. I am going to assign that in the first mesh, the mesh current variable is I1. The second one, it is I2. So these are the two mesh current variables. Next. So the variables are I1, I2. What is step number 3? Assign directions. To mesh current variables. So in the third step, you are going to assign the directions. You have to choose either clockwise or counterclockwise. Please keep in mind that while assigning the directions, you have to choose the both mesh current directions as same. That must be either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Here I have chosen both mesh currents are clockwise. If you doesn't like clockwise direction, you can choose anti-clockwise also in both the mesh currents. But don't choose clockwise in one mesh and anti-clockwise in another mesh. You can choose like that also, but it leads to some difficulty. That's why we will always assign clockwise or anti-clockwise in both the meshes or in all the meshes in the circuit. Okay. Next, what is step number 4? Apply KVL. Apply KVL in each mesh. So in the next step, you are going to apply KVL. So how you are going to apply KVL? For that purpose, you have to know the polarities of all the polarities across all the elements. Since there is only one source, for source they have already given the polarities. And we know how to assign the polarities across all the resistors. The current entering the terminal is always positive, leaving terminal always as negative. We will assign this terminal as plus and minus because when the current is moving clockwise, the current will enter from this terminal through R1. That's why it is plus minus. And coming to R2 here, when you consider this R2, what about the R2? R2 is common to both meshes. So R2 is common to mesh 1 as well as mesh 2. So when you are going to consider mesh current 1, that is I1, I1 is moving clockwise direction. That means in case of R2, I1 is flowing downwards. That's why we are going to choose plus here, minus here. Okay. So now apply KVL in mesh 1. Since there are 3 elements involved in mesh 1, now we are going to apply KVL in mesh 1. What are the voltage rises and what are the voltage drops? So if you see here, in case of source, the current is moving upwards. Current is moving upwards. That means it is moving from minus to plus. So Vs is rise. Okay. Now VR1. For example, assume that the voltage across R1 is VR1. What about VR1? It is a drop. And what about the voltage across the resistance R2? It is also a drop. Okay. So, because the current I1 is flowing from plus to minus. But I told you that R2 is common to both mesh 1 and mesh 2. That means I2 current is also going to flow through R2. So how the current I2 is flowing? It is flowing in upward direction. So when there are two currents involved, how you are going to calculate current through that resistor, the resultant value. So what is the resultant current through R2? It is I2 minus I1 or I1 minus I2. Which one you are going to choose among these two? What is the resultant current through R2? I1 minus I2 or I2 minus I1? When you are going to apply KVL in mesh 1, what is the current through mesh 1? I1. So you have to choose I1 as the dominant value. Then the resultant current is always I1 minus I2. When you are applying KVL in mesh 2, then you have to choose I2 as the dominant value, then I1. Then the resultant current is I2 minus I1. And the I2 minus I1 will flows always upwards in mesh 2. And in case of mesh 1, I1 minus I2 always flows downwards. Okay. So when you are, and the voltage always drops across resistors of the passive elements. So sum of voltage rises. Sum of voltage rise is equal to sum of voltage drop. Since there is a source in mesh 1, in across source always the voltage will be in rising mode. Though that means the voltage source value is a V rise. And what are the drops here? The voltage across R1, the voltage across R2. How will you calculate the voltage across R1? By using Ohm's law. Current through R1 is, what is current through R1? Only I1. Because the mesh current is going to flow through R1 only. R1 and source are confined to first mesh only. So the voltage across R1 is I1 into R1. This is the voltage across R1 from Ohm's law. Now what is voltage across R2? I1 minus I2 into R2. Because we are applying KVL in mesh 1, the resultant current is I1 minus I2. I1 is going to be dominant. So this is the first equation. Now if you apply KVL in mesh 2, how many elements are there here? So if you consider mesh 2, in mesh 2 I have assigned current direction like this in clockwise direction. Now what are the elements present in mesh 2? R2, R3 and R4. All the three elements are passive elements. That means there is only voltage drop across these elements. There is no voltage source or current source. That's why all the three elements will have voltage drop. Now how we are going to indicate the direction here? So current is flowing clockwise. So here in case of R3 current is going down. So plus minus, and here current is going upwards. So plus minus. So these signs are confined to mesh 2 only. Mesh 1 signs will be different, mesh 2 sign will be different. Because those signs are going to be assigned based upon the current direction that we have chosen in the mesh 2. Now according to KVL, sigma equal to sigma V drop. Since there is no source here, the voltage rise is always 0. Now what are the drops here? If you see the three elements, R3 and R4 are confined to mesh 2 only. That means this R3 and R4 carries the current I2 only. So R3 into I2 plus R3 into I2. Sorry, R4 into I2. So both the resistor R3 and R4 carries the same current I2. So R3 into I2 is the voltage across R3, R4 into I2 is the voltage across R4. Now what is the voltage across R2? The voltage across R2 is I2 minus I1 into R2. Here I2 is the dominant current. That's why I2 minus I1 into R2 is the voltage we are going to consider. So this is the first equation, and this is the second equation we got. From these two equations, what are the variables we have considered? One is I1, another one is I2. Okay. So these two equations are in terms of the two variables I1 and I2. If you solve these two equations, then you are going to get KVL. So I1 into R1 plus R2 minus I2 into R2 is equal to Vs. I have simplified this expression in terms of the mesh current variables. I separated I1 terms and I2 terms. Similarly, when you separated I1 and I2 terms there, minus I1 into R2 plus I2 into R2 plus R3 plus R4 equal to 0. So these are the two equations we got by applying KVL. When you solve these two equations, you will get I1 and I2. These two variables, these two values can be obtained when you solve the equations. From these two mesh currents, we can calculate any other voltage or current in the circuit. For example, if I want to calculate voltage across R1, so what is voltage across R1? I1 into R1. So already I calculated I1, we know the value of R1, so we can calculate the voltage. That's how we are going to apply mesh analysis. Okay. So in exam, you have to do the process. So first you have to identify the number of meshes. Next, assign mesh current variables. Afterwards, apply directions or assign directions to each mesh current. Then apply KVL in each mesh. And after that, you will get some set of equations. Solve those set of equations to obtain the values of the assumed mesh current variables. Okay. After applying the mesh current variables, you can then calculate the required parameter in the circuit, either current or voltage across any other element in the circuit. Okay. So this is how you are going to apply. Without applying KVL, we can still write the equations. Let us see how we can write the equations. So there are two meshes here. Assume the directions as I1 and I2. Okay. Now, when you are going to apply KVL in mesh 1, what are the passive elements here? R1 and R2. In mesh 1, what is the total resistance? R1 and R2. Add those two resistance R1 and R2. And in case of mesh 1, the current is I1. Among these two elements, R2 is common to the second mesh also. And now what about the directions here? Both are in clockwise, both are same. So then you have to put minus I2 into R2 is equal to, is there any source in the first mesh? Yes, Vs. And how the current is entering here? Into the negative terminal. So that means minus Vs equal to 0. So this is how you are going to write down the equation directly without applying KVL. First you will calculate the total resistance into the current in that mesh. Next, if both the currents are in same direction, then you are going to put minus I2 into R2 because R2 is common to second mesh also. And you will observe the current entering terminal in the source minus Vs because it is entering negative terminal, so minus Vs equal to 0. Coming to the second mesh, in the second mesh, what is the total resistance here? R2 plus R3 plus R4 into what is the second mesh current? I2. Now in this R2 is common to both the meshes and the currents are same. When the currents are same, you are going to put minus I1 into R2. Is there any source in this mesh? There is no source. Then directly you can write equal to 0. Equations are similar to that equation that we got by applying KVL. Okay, but don't follow this direct method. Always use KVL to write down the equations. Okay. Let us apply the same mesh analysis in the given circuit here. So this is the circuit given. How many mesh? What is the first step? You have to identify the number of meshes. Here, number of meshes are 3. So there are 3 meshes, 1, 2 and 3. The second step, you have to assign the mesh currents, I1, I2, I3. In the second step, you are going to assign the mesh variables, mesh current variables, I1, I2 and I3 are the mesh current variables. The third, you are going to assign direction. So assume that all the currents are flowing in clockwise direction. I3. Next, fourth one, you have to apply KVL. But here, if you observe, there are two current sources. So in mesh 1 there is no current source at all, but in mesh 2 and mesh 3 there are current sources. When there are current sources present in the circuit, then you no need to apply KVL in that particular mesh. So in case of mesh 2, what is the value of the current I2? Here the current I2 is assumed to flow in clockwise direction. That means when it is moving clockwise, how it is moving to the current source value direction? It is opposite. This I2 is moving downwards, but the current 12 amperes is moving upwards. That means you can take I2 directly as minus 12 amperes. No need to apply here. Similarly, in case of mesh 3, I3 is flowing in clockwise. That means I3 is flowing in the same direction as that of the 4 ampere source. Then you can take directly I3 is equal to 4 amperes. Okay. So without applying KVL, already we got the two mesh current values, I2 and I3. So that is the advantage of having current sources. Now what about mesh 1? There is no current source involved here. That means we have to apply KVL. So apply KVL in mesh 1. Now, so what are the voltages here? The 2 ohms, 3 ohms and 10 ohms. 2 ohms is confined to particularly mesh 1 only, because it is not common to any other meshes. So 2 into I1, that is the voltage, the 2 ohms. Now what is the voltage drop across 3 ohms? Obviously you know that this is the plus and minus, plus and minus, plus and minus. Now what is the current flowing through 3 ohms? I1 is the current flowing in this direction and I3 is the current flowing opposite in direction. So the resultant current is I1 minus I3, because we are applying KVL in mesh 1. So the voltage drop across 3 ohms is 3 into I1 minus I3. Next, 10 ohms. 10 ohms is common to mesh 1 and mesh 2. Now what are the directions here? In mesh 1, I1 is flowing downwards. In mesh 2, I2 is flowing upwards. So the resultant current is I1 minus I2, because I1 is dominant. So therefore the voltage drop across 10 ohms is 10 into I1 minus I2. So these are the 3 drops. So this must be equal to 4 volts, because we know sum of voltage rise is equal to sum of voltage drop. Sigma rise is equals to sigma drop. According to that, 4 volts is equal to the drops. Okay. So by substituting the values of I2 and I3 that we have already got in this equation, we will get the I1 value also. So 4 is equals to I1 minus I3 value is 4 plus 10 into I1 minus I2 value is minus 12. So minus of minus, it becomes plus. So what is the only variable here? I1. That means you can simply solve for I1. Okay. So but like this we can solve for the mesh currents. So in this problem he asked to calculate only the mesh currents in the given circuit. With this the problem is solved. If he asked to calculate any other value or voltage, then we will do by using the mesh current variables. Okay. That's all about the mesh analysis, the processor, the procedure, and how we are going to apply mesh analysis to analyze a simple electrical circuit. Okay. Now let us move on to the next one, the second topic and the final topic, nodal analysis. What is a nodal analysis? Nodal analysis is a systematic way of applying KCL. What is mesh analysis? It is a systematic way of applying KVL at each essential node of a circuit. In case of mesh analysis, we are applying KVL in each mesh, but in case of nodal analysis, we are applying KCL at each node. And here we are going to represent the branch currents in terms of node voltages. So what is basically nodal analysis? We are going to apply KCL in a systematic way at each node. Apply KCL at each node. Second one, we are going to represent the branch currents in terms of node voltages. In mesh analysis, we are going to apply KVL around each mesh, and we are going to represent the branch voltages in terms of mesh currents. But in case of nodal analysis, we are going to apply KCL at each node. We are going to represent each branch current in terms of node voltages. That's what you have to remember. Okay. Next, this will give us, similar to the mesh analysis, this process also gives set of voltages, set of equations in terms of node voltages. But there we are going to get set of equations in terms of mesh currents. The difference between those two is we are going to get the equations here in terms of node voltages. And when we will solve these equations, then you are going to get node voltages. Okay, the voltage across each node is going to be calculated, and after calculating these node voltages, you can calculate any other current. If you want to calculate current through the resistor, by means of these node voltages you can calculate. So this is the introduction about nodal analysis. Okay. Now what are the node voltages? Let us consider a resistor here connected between two terminals, two nodes. I will assume that this first node is having a voltage of V1, second node is having a voltage of V2, and the resistance value is R. Now what is the voltage across R? When you are going to see from node 1, that means when you are going to observe from node 1, then the node voltage V1 is going to be dominant than V2. Then what is the resultant voltage VR? V1 minus V2. Okay. So when you assume that V1 is more compared to V2, then VR is equal to V1 minus V2. Suppose if you want to see from node 2, from this node 2 it is V2 minus V1. Okay, as seen from node 2. This is when you see from node 1. So when node 1 is going to be at higher potential than node 2, then the resultant voltage is V1 minus V2. If node 2 is at higher potential than node 1, then the resultant voltage is V2 minus V1. That's how you are going to calculate the voltage across resistor when it is connected between two essential nodes. How will you calculate current? Suppose I have considered a resistor here and it is connected between two essential nodes 1 and 2. How will you calculate the current flowing in this direction, node 1 to node 2? I12. How will you calculate? If the voltage across 1 is V1, voltage across node 2 is V2, and the resistance value is R. How will you calculate the current I12? From Ohm's law, I12 is nothing but V by R. V is nothing but voltage across resistor. What is the voltage across resistor? That resistor is connected between two nodes. The node 1 is having a voltage of V1 value, node 2 is having a voltage of V2 value. But what is the resultant voltage now? See the current direction. The current direction will give the resultant voltage. The current always flows from higher potential to lower potential. Since the direction is given from node 1 to node 2, obviously V1 is at higher value. That's why the resultant voltage is V1 minus V2 by R. That is how you are going to calculate the current through an element when it is connected between two essential nodes. For example, if a resistor is like this, it is V1 and it is connected to a ground reference node. Okay. Now what is the current through this element in this direction? Obviously I1 is V1 by R. Why? Because this resistor is connected between V1 and reference node, and we know that the voltage across VR is 0. So V1 minus VR by R, actually that is the formula. But what is VR? 0. That means I1 is V1 by R. So when an element is connected between one node and reference node, the current through that element is V1 by R directly. Because second node is a ground node, and the ground voltage always we are going to consider it as 0. So V1 by R. If the current direction is like this, from node 2 to node 1, if you want to calculate I21 in this equation, how will you calculate I21? I21 is V2 minus V1 by R. Opposite direction. Similarly, if you want to calculate the current direction here, how will you calculate the current here going from ground node to the essential node? That one is nothing but obviously minus V1 by R. Because current, when you reverse the direction of current, that will be indicated by a negative sign. These are the things that you have to know before going into the nodal analysis. Okay, how you are going to calculate the node voltages and how you are going to calculate the current between two nodes. Here R is connected between two essential nodes, and this is the ground node or reference node. Then what is Vx? See here, this is positive sign is given towards V1, negative sign is given towards V2. That means V1 is positive, V2 is negative. What is Vx then? V1 minus V2. Here in this diagram, the same resistor is connected between the two nodes V1 and V2, but the voltage Vy in this case is V2 minus V1, because V2 is given as plus, V1 is termed as negative. That is how you are going to calculate the voltages across resistors that are connected between two essential nodes. Coming to the currents, so if you are going to calculate the current flowing through this resistor and this direction is given from 1 to 2, obviously it is V1 minus V2 divided by R. If the current is in opposite direction, second node to first node, then what is I21? V2 minus V1 by R. So these things are very much essential for you to apply nodal analysis. Now let us see the procedure. Similar to the mesh analysis, here also there are 5 steps involved. The first step is to identify all the essential nodes. What is the first step in mesh analysis? To identify the number of meshes. In case of nodal analysis, the first step is you have to identify the essential nodes and choose one as a reference node. You have to identify the nodes, you have to choose one of them as a reference node, and remaining will become essential nodes. Step 2, you have to assign the voltage variables at each node. Step 3, in case of each node, we are going to assume the branch current is leaving from that node. When there is no current source involved, we are going to assume that the branch current is leaving from that particular node. Next, step 4. Coming to step 4, we are going to apply KCL at each node. Except the reference node, we are going to apply KCL at each and every node. And finally, we are going to solve the equations obtained in step 4 for node voltages. So we are going to calculate the voltages, the voltage equations that we got in step 4 are going to be solved in the step 5. So this is how you are going to apply the nodal analysis. This is the procedure involved. But when there is a voltage source involved, in case of mesh analysis, when there is a current source involved, that mesh current is directly equal to the current source value. But in case of nodal analysis, if there is a voltage source exists between an essential node and a reference node, then the value of that node voltage is equal to the voltage source value. This one already I explained like this. So this is one node, node A, and this is the ground node. So what is VA? VA is directly equal to 5 volts because this 5 volts is connected between an essential node and a ground node. That's why the voltage VA is directly equal to the voltage source value. Already I told you about this. So these are the points and these are the steps that you have to remember to apply nodal analysis. See here, in this circuit there are 3 nodes here. So this is node 1, node 2, node 3, and this is node 4. Obviously we are going to choose this as reference node, and node 1, node 2, node 3 are the essential nodes. In this case, if you observe here, this 12 volts is connected between node 1 and a reference node. That means whatever the voltage value you are going to assign to that node, this V1 is directly equal to 12 volts. That's what I have mentioned in this point. That means you no need to apply KCL at node 1. Similarly, if you observe node 3, the 6 volts is connected between node 3 and reference node. That means whatever the node voltage you are going to assign to node 3, that is directly equal to 6 volts. So V3 is directly 6 volts. That means there is no need to apply KCL at node 3. What about node 2? Here there is no voltage source connected. That means we have to apply KCL at node 2. So in case of mesh analysis, when there is a current source involved, it is advantageous for us. We can directly assign the mesh current to the current source value. Similarly here, when there is a voltage source connected between one essential node and a reference node, that essential node voltage value is directly equal to the voltage source value. There is no need to apply KCL at that nodes. These things you have to keep in mind. Let us do one simple example. With this we will finish the class. So I have given a circuit like this. So what is the first step? Step 1, you have to identify the nodes. So how many nodes are there? So this is the first node. This is not a node because there is no element connected in between these two. That means this is the first node and this is the second node. And this is the third node, which we are going to call it as the reference node. Always the voltage across reference node is 0. So identify the number of nodes equal to 3. So essential nodes are going to be 2. So how many equations you are going to get when that is equal to number of essential nodes? Always it is equal to n minus 1. That means you have to apply KCL at only the essential nodes. Now what is step 2? Assign node voltage variables. So at node 1 I am going to assign a variable V1 and at node 2 I am going to assign node variable V2. Now what is step 3? You have to assign the branch current directions. Branch current directions that are connected to each node. Coming to the first node, how many branches are connected? This is 1, 12 ohms, 1 ampere source and 6 ohms. Since it is a 1 ampere source and the direction is already given, there is no need to assign direction. What about 12 ohms and 6 ohms? So we have to assign the branch currents always as leaving. So since there is no current source here, you are going to assign the current is leaving here and here the current is leaving from 6 amperes. Okay. Now what is step 4? You are going to apply KCL at each node. So these assigning the branch currents will be always pertaining to the node that you are going to consider. When you are going to applying KCL at node 2, how many branches are connected to node 2? One is 4 amperes, 6 ohms and 6 ohms. Since the 4 ampere the current direction is given, through 6 amperes you are going to consider it as leaving, and from node 2 the current direction is going to be chosen as leaving. When you are going to apply KCL at node 1, you are going to assign that the currents are leaving like this. But in the same 6 ohms is confined to both the nodes. It is connected in between the two nodes. That's why it carries two current directions. For node 1, the current will flows from 1 to 2. When you are applying KCL at node 2, you are going to see that the current is flowing from node 2 to node 1. Now let us apply KCL at node 1. So there are 3 branches connected to node 1. So KCL means sigma I entering is equal to sigma I leaving. Okay. So what are the currents entering here? 1 ampere is the only current entering. And what are the currents leaving? Two currents are leaving. So assume these two currents as I1 and I2. So I1 plus I2. Now what is the value of I1? I1 is the current flowing through 12 ohms. And this 12 ohms is connected between node 1 and reference node. So from Ohm's law, what is the current flowing through I1? Voltage across this resistance divided by the resistance value. What is the voltage across 12 ohms? 12 ohms is connected between V1 and R. So V1 minus 0 divided by 12. V1 minus 0 divided by 12. Or we can directly write it as V1 by 12. That is the current flowing through 12 ohms. 6 ohms. What is the current flowing through 6 ohms? That is I2 I have assumed. Okay. The current I2 is flowing from node 1 to node 2. So we already know that the current will always flow from higher potential to lower potential. Since I am applying KCL at node 1 and the current is flowing from node 1 to node 2, always the voltage across 6 ohms is V1 minus V2 by 6. If you substitute here, 1 is equals to V1 by 12 plus V1 minus V2 by 6. This is the first equation. That means the branch currents are represented in terms of node voltages. Now if you apply KCL at node 2, so what are the currents here? Assume this one as I3, this one as I4. Okay. So at node 2, what are the currents entering? There are no currents entering. All the three currents, 4 amperes, I3 and I4 are leaving. So sum of the currents entering is 0 and all the currents are leaving. I3, I4 and 4 amperes are leaving. Now what is I3? I3 is the current flowing through 6 ohms and the 6 ohms is connected between node 2 and ground node. So the voltage across the 6 ohms is V2 by 6, which is equal to V2 by 6 since VR is 0. And what about I4? I4 is minus I2 because already we calculated I2. I4 and I2 are opposite to each other. So I4 is nothing but minus I2. What is I2 value here? V1 minus V2 by 2. V2 by 6. So minus of that. Then this becomes V2 minus V1 by 6. Or you can directly write. Since I4 is flowing from node 2 to node 1, V2 minus V1 by 6. So if you substitute here, you are going to get 0 equal to I3 is V2 by 6 plus I4 V2 minus V1 by 6 plus 4 ampere. This is the second equation. So here if you see these two equations, the branch currents are represented in terms of node voltages. The equation is in terms of V1, V2. Here also the equation is in terms of V1 and V2. So we have calculated the branch currents and the branch currents are represented in terms of node voltages. If you solve these two equations, you will get these node voltages V1 and V2. From that node voltages, we can calculate any current or voltage in the circuit. Okay. So this is all about nodal analysis. Let us summarize what are the topics we have discussed. The first one, we have discussed about analysis of electrical circuits, types of analysis as well as terminology involved. Second, we discussed about mesh analysis, its procedure, and we have solved one example using mesh analysis. And third one, we discussed about nodal analysis, the procedure involved in nodal analysis and a solved example. And finally, we have discussed some limitations also. In case of mesh analysis, when there is a voltage source present, how we are going to solve. In case of nodal analysis, when a current source present, how we are going to solve. Those are the limitations we have discussed. So this is all about the topics that we have discussed today.